All right, let us continue translating our story of Pandora. All right, so this next part is direct quote. It's direct speech. O epimetheu eras pericrium non vides. So let's label our parts of speech here. We have an interjection here with O. So first time we've gotten an interjection, hooray. So then we have epimetheu, which is our noun. Eros here, which is a verb. Periculum, verb. Non, that's a negation. It goes with our verb and our verb. So in that first sentence, I'm going to start with the verb. Okay. So what information do we have with our verb here? Our verb is telling us with the very end here that is a second person singular. That's our personal ending it's given us. That A tells me that I am in the first conjugation. Okay. This verb eras comes from ero errare, which is to wander, to err, to make a mistake. So second person, and I know that all of our verbs right now in this translation are going to be present, active, indicative. So I don't have to worry about what tense, mood, or voice I'm in because we're not really complicated yet. So you, second person singular, you err. You err, you make a mistake, you wander, you messed up. You mess up. Okay, so who messes up? Who is the subject here? We're going to have to go over to our other words. Our other noun here is epimetheu. So this is the vocative, so the direct address, speaking directly to somebody, form of epimetheus. Now, other second declension masculine nouns that end in us are going to have just an E at the end. Epimetheu is going to be a little bit of a different story because both Epimetheu and Prometheus, Epimetheus and Prometheus, those are Latinized Greek. Okay, so they have some exceptions to how they are declined and used in Latin. All right, so this is Epimetheus. And then the interjection here is literally just, oh, Epimetheus, you err. You make a mistake. You're messing up, Epimetheus. Okay, let's move on to the next one, starting with our verb here. So S, and again, singular, second person. E tells me second conjugation. So, and that's from video, videre, so second person, singular, second conjugation. So, and then the negation is here is telling me not this. So if this is you see, the non in front of it is making it you do not see. You do not see. Okay, what does he not see? We don't need to go looking for a subject for video videre right now, or for vides right now, because we're within reported speech, okay, or direct speech. We're in these little quotation marks here. We can assume that because no other subject has been stated other than Epimetheus, that Epimetheus is still the subject of video videre, or of vides here, okay? So what is Epimetheus not seeing? We need something in the accusative to be our direct object here. Periculum is just that thing. Periculum, this is dangers. That ending tells us we're in the accusative, or danger, because if it were dangers, it would be pericula. Now this could be the nominative form, but this verb right here needs it needs to have an object, and we already have somebody that the person who is speaking in this direct speech is speaking to, so odds are it's not going to be danger as the thing that is not seeing. Also, danger would need to be in the vocative in this case in order to be the subject of this verb, okay? So, oh, Epimetheus, you err, you make a mistake, you're messing up. You do not see danger. Okay. We're still in direct speech here. Non debes feminam accipere. So here we have something special. So let's go through it and mark our parts of speech. Non-debes, that's a negation. It's going to go with our verb here. Debeo, debere. Feminon, this is a noun. And then accipere, that's another verb. Oops, not a Y, a V. To get sharper tip pens here, because these are starting to smush out. Okay. So we know again, because we're in the same string of direct speech, we have another second person singular. Debeo, debere, this is a second conjugation. Put the J in there just because it looks better. Okay. So this would be you owe, you ought, adding our non in there for negation. You ought not. And if you're not familiar with, like, if you're not used to using ought, that can kind of sound weird. You can use should. You should not. Okay. So we have what's called, and we did, there's a previous video on it that I sent out, a complementary infinitive. Okay, we have a complementary infinitive here. Non-debis is working with accipere to complete the action or the intent of the phrase here. You ought not. Accipere is to accept. So we'll just label here infinitive. This is a present active infinitive. So to, oops, we know it's an infinitive when you have to with it. To accept. It is just, it's not inflected. It's not somebody doing the action with an infinitive. It is just the statement of to do this thing in the present active, to accept. You ought not to accept. And then when you have, sometimes you need to have an object to finish the phrase. Not every complementary infinitive needs to have an object, but some do. Accept is a verb that needs an object. And we'll talk about transitive and intransitive at a later time. So feminam here, that is an accusative. It is a first declension. It's feminine, it's singular. We know it's singular because it's am at the end. If it were plural, it would be as. So the woman. So the whole sentence is implied. The subject of this verb here is Epimetheus again. So implied Epimetheus, you should not, you ought not accept. So if you should not, you aren't going to add the to in there because it doesn't work. Should not to accept. If you use your ought, You ought not to accept. You ought not to accept. To accept what? The object, which is the woman. Moving on. So Epimetheus, Pandorum, Amat, De Pediculo, Non, Coge, parts of speech, noun, noun, verb, preposition, noun, negation, verb. Let's take a look at our verbs. Amat, third person singular. Okay, so when we need to find our subject of the verb, which means we're looking for a singular nominative here. It's from amo amare, amat here. So it is a first conjugation. Present active indicative. So singular thing in the nominative, loves. He, she, it loves. Okay, let's look at the other verb. We have not this thing. Cogitat, same thing here. This T at the end tells me third person singular. The A tells me that this is first conjugation. Present active indicative, from cogito cogitare. No. So again, we need a subject here, a nominative singular subject. So let's go looking for that. Do we have anything in the nominative here? Yes, we do. Epimetheus. Epimetheus, that's our second declension masculine. Singular, just Epimetheus. Great. So we know who is doing the loving. Epimetheus is doing the loving. Okay. Who is doing the not knowing? Well, Epimetheus is doing the not knowing. All right. Let's look at the first sentence up there and figure out, okay, Epimetheus loves. What does Epimetheus love? Who does Epimetheus love? We need an object. What's in the object here? AM. This is an accusative. That's what we need for an object. Pandora is in the object, or is the object. She's in the accusative. So she is a first declension feminine singular. Pandora. Any other accusatives here? No. All right. So day right here, I think we've talked about before, this is an ablative preposition, okay? So that means both day and the noun that follows is going to be in the ablative. Periculo, that's an ablative form, okay? So day is about or with regard to. So about danger. So over here we have a verb, and verbs usually take an accusative. So what's going on here? Why don't we have an accusative object here? Well, so most of the time you're going to need an accusative object for your verb to take. But if you have a little prepositional phrase like this, de periculo, about the danger, this can act as an object without being in the accusative. So our full sentence here, or our kind of full translation on this little section here. Epimetheus. Epimetheus what? He loves, whom does he love? Pandora. But Epimetheus implied he does not know. He does not know, he does not think, he does not consider. Consider is another word you can use there for cogito. He does not know, does not consider, does not know about, does not consider, does not think about. Think. About danger. He's just all in. So Jupiter Epimetheo Arcum dot. Non licet Arcum apere, sorry. Aperire. Alrighty, parts of speech time. Jupiter, that's a noun. Epimetheo, that's a noun. Arcum, that's a noun. That's a verb. This is a negation for the noun. This little thing right here is its own little phrase. Arcum, that is a, not a verb, that's a noun. Aperire. Aperire, that is a verb. All right, let's start up here with our first little one. Dat, this is a third person singular. So I need a subject that is in the nominative singular from do, dare, which is a first conjugation verb meaning to give. So he, she, it gives. Okay, so who's doing the giving? What do we have that's in the nominative singular? Jupiter right here. This is in the nominative singular. This is a third declension, and I gave you guys that one. So Jupiter, the Roman version of Zeus. So with do, dare here, we have a verb of giving, showing, telling. So with verbs of giving, showing, or telling, we need to have both an object and an indirect object. So what is the thing that we are, or that Jupiter is giving? Like J over here, J gives, Jupiter gives. What is Jupiter giving? So we need something, we need a direct object, so we need something in the accusative. Right here, oops, this is not like that. Arcum, am at the end, that's telling us that we have an accusative. So what was that word? If you look it up on your vocab list, this is like the chest, the box. We use box because it's, you know, the story is Pandora's box. If that is an accusative singular. Okay, so that's the thing. That's the object that we are giving. Now we need the to whom part. To whom are we giving? The only other word in the sentence is epimetheo. And also epimetheo happens to be in the dative. So second declension masculine, dative ends in O. So Jupiter gives a box, a chest to Epimetheus. Non-licet here is an impersonal verb, a little impersonal verb phrase. It means, so it is not permitted. It's not allowed. The word license comes from licet. Is not permitted. And then we are going to need to come over here to this infinitive here. So we have another complementary infinitive. Infinitive with aperire, which is to open. Okay, what is it not permitted to open? This object here in the accusative singular box. So this full phrase, or this full section translated out is Jupiter gives a box. Gives a box to whom? To do I have enough room? Yes. Messy. Let's start a little bit farther so I don't run out of room. It is not permitted. It is not allowed. It's not okay. It is not permitted that he is not permitted for anyone. It's not permitted. It's not allowed to open the box. 'Tis forbidden. Said Pandora est curiosa. Quid in arca est. Okay, we'll just skip that part for now. Let's mark our parts of speech. Said here, this is a conjunction. Pandora, this is a noun. Est, this is a verb. Curiosa, that is an adjective. Quid here, this is an interrogative pronoun. It means, you know, when you're asking a question. Interrogative is when you're asking a question. It means what. This is a preposition. Arca is a noun. Est is a verb. So we've got our conjunction up here. We know this means like but, however. Okay. Our noun here is Pandora, our verb is est, and our adjective is curiosa. So we know this is a third person singular, which means we are looking for a singular subject. Blank is Pandora here is a singular nominative. She's the only other thing that can be the subject. And what we have here with Pandora as curiosa, curiosa is also here in the nominative singular. Curious here is agreeing with Pandora in gender, number, and case. What we have is another nominative or predicate nominative. This thing is this thing equals this thing. Pandora is curious. Okay. So, and the interrogative pronoun here, what? This is a question. Quid is going to be acting as the subject of the verb here. It's referring to something else. It's just a general question. What is the thing? Is, we know, third person singular for S. We have had it in the sentence already. So this preposition can go with either the ablative or the accusative. For in to go with the accusative, there has to be some sort of motion toward, like going up into or up to something. For it to be in the ablative, the word that follows has to be in the ablative, of course, but then it also has to do with some sort of location. Here, the context is telling us inside, some sort of location. So this is an ablative. It's acting as an ablative preposition. In arca, in the box. So our full thing here is, however, Pandora is curious. What's in the box? What is in the box? What's in the box? And we continue that direct speech. Multa pecunia. Multa pecunia. Whoops. Oh my goodness. Magnus. Numerous. Gemara. Femina. Argam. Aper. All right. Parts of speech. Multa pecunia. Multa, that's from multus, multa, multum. That's an adjective. Pecunia, that's a noun. Magnus, again, magnus, magna, magnum. That is an adjective. Numerous, that's a noun. It's a number. Gemarum, that is from gems. It's a noun. Femina, noun. Argam, noun. Apperit, verb. Okay. Let's talk about the verb. You know, it's a third person singular, present active indicative. So if we think back to the previous sheet or the previous page, we are talking about Pandora here. It's her talking like, oh, okay, well, what's in the box? And right here we have femina, which is a first declension feminine noun. It is in the nominative here, nominative singular. The woman. Aperit. So it's referring to Pandora here. Apere is to open. She opens. Apere needs to have an object, articum, that is in the accusative singular there. And we're familiar with it already. It's the box. The woman opens the box. So before that, she's wondering what's in that box. Okay. So pecunia we know is a first declension feminine noun. So this is a nominative singular, and it means money. Multa, many, much, a lot. We'll just use it as a lot right now. Or we'll just, because it would be a lot of money. And that might sound genitive. It's just because that's how it translates into English. We don't really have, can't really, it would come off as like much money or many money, and that doesn't really work in English. Sometimes you have to kind of move the words around and change them a little bit to make them make sense in the language you are translating. Okay, so a lot of money, magnus numerus gemarum, great. You know, these are both nominative, singular, nominative, singular. Here we are, Magnus here is modifying numerous, great number. Gematum, this is a genitive plural of gems. Okay, so we have what's called a partitive. This is a genitive plural. It's a partitive genitive here, part of the whole. Because great number of gems, partitive. Okay, so then this whole sentence is a lot of money. Great number of gems. It's like a pirate's chest. A woman opens the box. Multiforme, mali, volo, et erat. Sed Pandorum spem in arca conserva. Adjective, noun, noun, verb, conjunction, verb, preposition, oh no, not preposition, sorry. Conjunction, noun, noun, preposition, noun, verb. Okay. Okay, these two right here These are plural. Plural, plural. They're third person plural. The third person plural. Provolant and errant, they're both first conjugation. Provolo, provolare, this is to fly out, to rush forward. So the plural thing that we'll find in the plural nominative, fly out, they rush forward, they escape maybe. Errant, they wander, we could even say they scatter. In this context, okay, we can go ahead and add it in, or take care of this conjunction right here. We know that it is and. So what is rushing forward? What is scattering?
Hi, I'm Sarah.
Sorry, my phone was ringing. What is rushing out and scattering? Multiformi mali. So right here we have, these are nominative plural. Okay. Multi many. And formi, we would say like forms, figures, shapes, many forms. Many forms what? Mali, from malo mali, of evil. Many forms of evil. Rush forward and wander, escape, scatter. Okay? Said, but, however, conservat, this is a third person singular. First conjugation. Pandora here, this is in our nominative singular, so it's going to be the subject of conservat here. What does she do? Conservat. Conservat, which is keep safe. She preserves, she saves. We'll use conserve because it comes from this verb, conserves. Pandora conserves. What does she conserve? She needs an object here. Spem, from spe, spei. This is in the accusative singular. It's hope. Okay, she needed an object in the accusative to conserve, but Pandora conserves hope. Where does she conserve hope? In, that's our preposition here that could go either with the accusative or with the ablative. The noun that follows is in the ablative. And that is the A at the end. Also, it's a location, it's inside of something. In the box. So let's see if I can fit that all in a small space here. So many forms of evil rush forward and scatter. But Pandora conserves she saves hope in the box. Come on, pen. We're at the home stretch here. Etiam, C. Vita, plena, malorum, semper, habemus. Parts of speech. Etiam, this is an adverb. And actually, etiam, C together, this is an adverbial phrase. Vita, this is a noun. Plena, this is an adjective. This is a noun. This is a verb. This is a noun. This is another adverb, and this is a verb. So etiam, C, even if. Okay, and then semper here, this is always. It's really simple things to go ahead and plug in real quick before we get to the rest of it. All right, so let's look at our verbs here. In this section, our verb is third person singular. So we're looking for something in the nominative singular. Present active indicative is, something is. So when we have multiple verbs in a sentence, or in a sentence or in a section of text that we are translating, one of them is third person singular and another one is like this one. This is first person plural. We know that we have two different things we need to look at here. Okay, we can parse them separately so that we don't get confused, and kind of chunk them up and make it a little easier on ourselves. We'll take that first section on its own. Vita plena malorum est. So we need to find the subject of is here, of est. So we have malorum. We know that this is a genitive plural form, so this is not our subject. So we know this is evils, of evils. Okay, so we have then vita and plena, and we know that plena is an adjective, so it's probably not sitting here substantively. It's probably modifying a noun, and the only other noun we have in this little section is vita, which is life. So these are going to be in our nominative singular. This is our subject, life here. And plena is our adjective, it's modifying life. So full. So life full of evils is. So even though they're not right next to each other, we still do have with sumese here, vita and plena. We still have a predicate nominative. Life is this, life is full. Life is full of evils. We'll put that little thing down here just to get it started, the rest of the sentence. So even if life is full of evils, all right, let's go to the second sentence. Habemus, from habeo habere, to have, first person plural, so that's we. This is a second conjugation EO. We have. So in this section of the sentence, we find that the subject is not stated. in the sentence itself. It's contained within the verb. That's a cool thing that Latin does. You can have the verb, or you can have the subject in the verb. If it's not obvious from the context, if it's not stated in the sentence, then your subject is in the verb. Because the verb is inflected, it reflects the person, number, all those things. And sometimes it can have the subject within it. Okay, so we have, what do we have? We need to have something in the, accusative to have an object. The only thing in this section we have is spem, which is in the accusative, great, singular, and is hope. So oh, actually, no, that one's in green. So we always, our adverb there, we always have hope. All right, that is the Pandora's box translation. Good job, guys.